Hello, welcome to Wisdom at the Well, or today lovingly referred to Piffs on the Path. I'm on a road trip. Yay! Today is day 44 of my 108-day commitment to create and communicate, and I thought I would create my video while I'm here on the road. I've got about 80 or so miles in front of me before I have to do any road changes. I'm on the A30 driving from Southwest Cornwall to Somerset, so I'm excited. So, yes, welcome. I am enjoying my cup of matcha latte with coconut milk from Starbucks. It is one of my go tos when I'm on the road, and I have started to do that here in the UK as well. I actually didn't realize that I could, but unfortunately, I think Starbucks is growing here in the UK. And even though I'm of the mind friends don't let friends drink Starbucks, I drink Starbucks when I'm on the road. It's count onable, it's delicious. I love their matcha latte with coconut milk, and while it's a little sweet, it is pretty consistent wherever we go, right? So I stop off and I get my matcha latte and my bacon egg bites, and it's my go-to. And yeah, it just it's part of grounding. It's how I ground when I'm on the road, which is actually like what I want to talk about. Because being on the road, it's like how do you ground when you're traveling? How do you know which way to go? So right now I'm passing signs: Innis Downs, Wadebridge, St. Austell, or as my aunt used to call it, Stozzle. And my grandfather's family is actually from Wadebridge. So I'm going through mid Cornwall right now, and mid Cornwall is very much where my father line is from. I live in West Cornwall, but mid Cornwall, Liscard, where my dad grew up, St. Blisland and St. Breward, Wadebridge. This area here is where my family goes back generations upon generations. And so there's something very special for me as I drive through this part of Cornwall, like the bones of my family, the blood of my family in this land. And yeah, just aware of that. So, hi, Dad. So, I was thinking about how Starbucks is one of my count onables when I'm on a road trip. I started it when I was back in the States and nomadic, starting back in 2021. And this is what I would do. It would give me kind of like a time frame, like, okay, I would drive so many miles to get to a Starbucks, or it would give me some familiarity when I was out on the road and kind of in the unknown. And so I've just been thinking about as I've been driving. So, what is it that creates a sense of familiarity, a sense of I got this? And I was thinking back to on the Camino, the yellow arrows of the Camino. They're iconic now. And they used to be I mean, they still are, but like hand painted on the side of granite buildings, of old barns as you go through villages. There would be yellow arrows painted on the roads, on the buildings, on the signs, so you would know which way to go. And there was something very comforting about that, that even if you had a map, sometimes it wasn't always clear. But those yellow arrows provided you with the direction to go. When I was walking the other way, going from Santiago back across Spain into France, it was a very interesting experience in that for the first 100 kilometers or so, as we were walking back through Galicia, the province, the state of Spain, the very far northwest, there were blue spirals that then opened up into an arrow, and that was the sign, the emblem for El Contrario, the Camino the other way. And so that was also very comforting because when you're walking the other way, where a path splits, it's not as clear which way is the path, which way is the way. And so at those junctures where the blue spiral arrow made it very apparent, again, there is a comfort in that. There is a, okay, we know which way to go. But those signs didn't last very long. They they petered out as we crossed over the mountains of Osabrero into the next state. And yeah, then it was like, okay, yes, we have the map. Yes, there's the path. But when think about it, when you're coming one way, it's very clear. You don't go back on the other choice. But when you're confronting, the when two paths diverge or converge in the woods, the Robert Frost poem, it can be very tricky and very challenging to choose because it's not so obvious. And so instead of relying on anything outside of ourselves, my friend Sharon and I, who I was walking this section of the Camino with, we had to really come within and really tune into our bodies, our intuition, our knowing, and our relationship with the El Contrario Camino. And many times we actually chose the right path. But there was a number of times we also didn't. And it was so interesting because the path would very quickly become kind of like barricaded, if you will, brambles, not clear. It just became less and it became more vague. And so we had to go, no, then this isn't the way. We had to pay attention to the signs. That once you realized it wasn't the path was so obvious. But in the middle of it, you'd be like, yeah, this is good. This is right. Yeah, yeah, okay. But something in you knew that it wasn't the right way. And sometimes we forged ahead anyway. And other times when we trusted our knowing it wasn't the right way and turned around, and we came back to the place where the paths converged and we went on the other path, it was like, oh, yes, now we're on the path. Of course we are. Now it's so clear and obvious. So that's my question for today is how do you know when you're on the path, on your way? What are your signs? How does it feel in your body? How do you know when you're not? And then how willing are you to make changes? How willing are you to choose your path? No matter what, how willing are you to stay committed, aligned, and true to who you are and why you're here? So, piffs from the path. Until tomorrow.